We're going to meet with AT&T Labs today to discuss the FiberFinder solution. This unique solution was developed jointly with them to solve issues that they were facing in their fiber plant.
With some of our large customers, we have service level agreements, which basically mean we need to provide them essentially continuous service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if that service is interrupted for a given period of time, that's a problem. So what happened was a technician went to do a test, an OTDR test on a fiber in Essential Office. He went to the LGX panel. It's a light guide cross connect, so it's a manual cross connect panel. He went to that panel. He looked at the label. He disconnected the fiber that he thought was the appropriate one, and it turned out that there was a labeling error, and that happens because over time, particularly 10 or 20 years ago, these things were done by hand, and so sometimes you'll have fibers that have been in an office for a long time, and the technicians are afraid often to even touch these things because they know that if you pull a fiber, sometimes it's not the one you want, and you can cause a problem. We said what you need is a device that can uniquely identify a fiber before you unplug it, and it needs to do it in a non-intrusive way. There are live fiber detectors on the market that I think most people in telecom know about, where you clip this thing onto a fiber, puts a little bend in the fiber, and it senses light that leaks out of the bend. Now, a device like that can tell you there's light in the fiber, but it can't tell you this is the one and only fiber that you're looking for.
Exactly, a specific live fiber.
That's right.
Where all fibers are live.
Exactly. So the idea was if we could induce a time varying bend in the fiber, so invent a device that puts a bend in the fiber and then changes the radius of that bend, we can change the amount of light that's leaking out of the fiber, and therefore the amount of light that remains in the fiber will vary in time also. Then we partnered with EXFO, and EXFO had the expertise, and also there were additional innovations along the way where EXFO figured out a way to ensure that the loss, when you bend that fiber, it doesn't matter what type of fiber it is. Different fibers have different characteristics as you bend them. One fiber might have, if you put a certain bend in it, it might have a lot of loss. Another fiber, you put the same bend in it, it has little loss. What you need to do is figure out a way that you can ensure yourself that you never put too much loss in the fiber. And actually, the EXFO engineers figured out a way to solve that problem. And so the result was FiberFinder, where you clip the modulator at one end, you clip the detector at the other, and the total loss that those two devices induce in the fiber is less than the dB. And that's enough to ensure that a working system will be unaffected.
All right.
So basically, we have an optical fiber with traffic flowing through it. So this is a working service, and we want to be able to trace this fiber to the other side of the central office, or maybe even to a different central office. But we don't want to bring down the traffic that's riding on the fiber. So the first thing we do is we take the tone generator, we clip it on. And here we've got the tone generator. It can be supported by a strap, so we can just hang it there. And you see now it's going through the loading process where it's putting a bend in the fiber. Once it reaches a certain point where it's induced the proper amount of loss in the fiber, it then starts to modulate the bend radius of the fiber. And so now by doing that, you put a very low speed modulation on top of the light. And that 11 hertz modulation doesn't affect the traffic because most of the frequency content in a high-speed optical communication system is much higher than 11 hertz. So now that we've got this modulation going, we can go across the office and check to see that the fiber that we think is correctly labeled is indeed the one that we tagged here.
We clip on the LFD, and it goes through basically the same process that the tone generator did. It slowly induces a bend to ensure that it's not putting too much loss in the fiber.
This is only a two-person operation if we're 100 kilometers apart. You know, if he's in one city and I'm in another, then I can clip it to the fiber. I can give him a call and say, hey Ken, put this on the other side. And here we can see that this is the fiber we're looking for.